Hello, 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 hello. Honey, I wasn't planning on going live today, but when I see something and I'm in combing the news and I found this information out, there was just no way that I couldn't come out today and talk to you all. All right. So as you all enter in, please make sure you hit that like button. You see that QR code up there? Hit it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So apparently, according to TMZ, the police investigators are viewing David as a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And they're calling it an apparent suicide because, again, I do not think that the coroner's office has put out what her cause of death was, because I did a video. Whew, my goodness. I did a video probably last week. Let me see. Or maybe the week before then. Let's look. So it was on November 8th that the update on Celeste Hernandez Celeste Rivas Hernandez case, and that was back on November 8th. So that was last week. So as we're going on right now, I don't think that we have a cause of death. However, let's go over what TMZ is talking about. Let me share my screen. So it says investigators view him as a suspect in Celeste Rivas' apparent homicide. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. David is viewed as a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas, the teenager who was found decomposing in his Tesla back in September. Law enforcement sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ. As far as we know, there is no paperwork classifying David as a suspect. So again, all of this is alleged until they come out and say, but I want to come forward and let you all know what I know at this point. Investigators are looking at David as a suspect. And that, in my opinion, would be a logical course of action. Number one, she was found deceased in his car. Number two, she was found deceased in front of the home, in the car that in front of the home where he was staying while he was in Los Angeles. There have been numerous reports, social media documentation of David and Celeste that they knew each other. There has been documentation or a video showing that Celeste was at his home, the home in which the car was in front of and where her body was found. There is a video showing that she knew him. There is a video stating where she's saying about child SA. She made it a quip, but she was making it towards him. There is social media information out here talking about allegedly that he was paying other teenagers paying other teenagers not to talk about his relationship with Celeste. There is a social media post from a teacher of Celeste who was talking about number one, that he knew Celeste, and number two, that he had known that she had gone off with a quote rapper. There is video evidence and photos out where we see Celeste going backstage, excuse me, with David's brother while he is in concert. So there's a lot of evidence to show that he knew her. Now, we do understand there was another Celeste who is somewhere around the age of David that has been brought into the picture to kind of, in my opinion, like I said, I don't know these people. I don't know them personally and I don't know them professionally. But I think that there was information. This other Celeste was put out there so that if he was talking about Celeste, he was going to be talking about her. However, The thing about young folks is everything's got to be on social media. So there is so much information, social media information showing that he was out there. Now, there are some texts and things like that on social media with her talking to her cousin or her friend. Those things are out here as well. So logically speaking, with the information that's been out here, and shout out to social media sleuths, with all the information and stuff that's out here, child, this is a mess. Hold on, let me see if I, here we go. Because I'm doing vertical and I'm doing horizontal, and I don't think y'all can see me in the vertical live stream. So let me make sure that y'all can see me. So there is just a lot of information going on out here in the social media sphere that shows one thing. It points to one thing, in my opinion, that they knew each other. Whether or not that they had some type of relationship, we don't have that evidence to come out, but we do have evidence to show that they knew each other, and they knew each other to the point that she was able to be invited backstage at one of his concerts. So let's continue. We are also told that they're viewing Celeste's death as a homicide, even though the medical examiner has not yet determined the cause or manner of death. Investigators are still awaiting the toxicology report results. So I don't know the exact date that they completed the autopsy. However, it's been 2 months. And I don't know if they have a backlog or whatever, but I do remember seeing a lot of news reports. Let me see. I do remember seeing a news report, and this just maybe it was just talking about that the LA County has 625 deferred death cases. So she is amongst one of those 625 cases, possibly that they're that way because of toxicology report. But I do remember, and I can't find it now, and I'm not going to take too much time of your time looking for it, where they were talking about of all the cases that were presented that day. I think it was September 7th when they found her body. But all of those cases that were found or thing in that month, they have been all but 10, I think it was at that time, had been an autopsy and ooh, excuse me, a manner or cause of death had been reported and published. So her death has not been published, or it has not been reported as of yet. One source claims the police investigation revealed that around spring of 2025, David took a trip in the middle of the night to a remote area of Santa Barbara County and remained there for several hours. We have not double sourced that information. It also is unclear why a spring trip would be on LAPD radar. That's interesting. A spring trip to a remote area of Santa Barbara County. Now, where are they sourcing that information from? Are they sourcing that from the information from his car? Interesting. Interesting. Give me one moment. So that's 90, that's give or take. And I'm just going from the outskirts of LA County, Los Angeles to Santa Barbara. And that's about a almost a 2.5 hour drive. I don't know how much charge a Tesla would get at that moment. And you all that are Tesla drivers, let me know down in the comments. I don't know how much of a charge that would have, but clearly, 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 that is interesting. We have not been able to find a photo or video of Celeste since September 2024. Now, let me make this bigger. But this looks like a party photo. If you all are looking how I'm looking, this looks like a party photo of David and Celeste. They have on matching, look like matching do-rags. Interesting. David was living in the Hollywood Hills in a rental home. Cops searched the property for blood evidence, and his Tesla was abandoned on a nearby street and towed to an impound lot where Celeste's body was later found in the front trunk. Here is the video. Here's them being on stream together, and this is where she mentioned, about them possibly having an intimate, maybe sexual encounters, but she posed it out of her mouth as, and I'm paraphrasing, as if it was SA. So, both of them are sitting here online and on stream, and both of them have no cares in the world of being on stream here. And we won't play that stream. Celeste's body was decomposing when it was found in a plastic bag back in early September, and our sources say it looks like the body was cut up and that the manner in which Celeste was dismembered strongly suggests whoever did it had help from other people. I'm going to read that again. Celeste's body was decomposing when it was found in a plastic bag back in early September, and our sources say it looks like the body was cut up and that the manner in which Celeste was dismembered strongly suggests whoever did it had help from other people. It's unclear right now if cops have any other suspect besides David. The police are still not close to making an arrest, and they have reached out to David's camp, and so far, no word. Now, we also know, too, that you remember sometime last month, David was scrambling with his family to take rental properties and things out of his name into another family member's name. You notice that he has not returned back on tour. Not that I don't know if anybody would be going on tour, going to see him, but he has not returned back on tour. Don't know if anything, what's going on with his record label. Don't know anything about his management or anything like that. Everybody is just kind of stum at this point. But we will see. We will see what's going on. We will definitely see how this is materializing, because again, this is a lot. This is a lot. Hold on just one moment. I thought I had a video to show y'all, but I just want to make sure. Give me one moment to pull it up.
Now T-Mobile has the best network by like a lot, but I'm just another guy.
Has identified singer David as a suspect in connection with the death of a missing teen. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedon.
So we're going to go back over this. Hold on just one moment. Let me get the sound right. All right. Let's go back.
The LAPD has identified singer David as a suspect in connection with the death of a missing teen. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedano. An LAPD source with direct knowledge of the investigation told NBC4 Investigates that singer David has been identified as a suspect in connection with the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, and that David is not cooperating with their investigation. This all started on September 8th when a decomposed body was found in the front trunk of a Tesla in a tow yard here in LA. The car was registered to David. It had been impounded after someone reported the vehicle abandoned in the Hollywood Hills. The remains were identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, who had been reported missing by her family in Lake Elsinore last year. Police tell NBC4 Investigates that Rivas likely died in the spring and that David likely had helped to dismember and dispose of the body. We're continuing to track new developments in the case. We'll have new details on the NBC4 News at 4.
So they're basically saying that they believe that she was pruned from the timeline in the spring. Hold on. Well, earlier in the spring, because September 7th would still be the spring. It didn't become fall until September 22nd, 23rd-ish. So this is late spring. So early spring. So where were they holding her body is an interesting question. And who was holding the body, which is an interesting question. This is messy. This is messy. Give me one moment. I think I have one more video to show. Yeah, I have one more video to show, and I'm going to show that video for you. Give me one moment. Let me share this tab and let me move it so I can see y'all. It's probably a repeat of what we just heard, but still. All right. And we'll read the attached article.
Now to some breaking news. Singer David now considered a suspect in the death investigation of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. A source with knowledge of the investigation telling Eyewitness News the 14-year-old was found dead on September 8th in the trunk of a Tesla registered to the singer. After investigators found the remains, the LAPD executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home where David had been staying. We still don't know how or when the teenager died. Sources are telling ABC News David is not cooperating with the investigation and has never cooperated despite what his PR reps have claimed. We will have more on these breaking developments throughout the afternoon on Eyewitness News, on air and online.
Now that's an interesting, again, I like, even though that they tell us the same information, there's always a little tidbit of information that we didn't have before. See, we didn't have before that he was never cooperating. We got from his we got that he was cooperating, and then once they started looking at him as a suspect, then he stopped cooperating. So they're saying that he's never cooperated, which is he's right, because I've said it all the time. You don't have to talk to them unless, even if they arrest you, you don't have to talk to them. You have the right to remain silent. But there's another key piece of information that I am interested in, and I'm going to stop sharing. Let me get everything. I'm still interested in a couple of pieces of information. First of all, I am still interested to know, when did her family last see her? So if we're talking about the spring, we are talking between March, end of March. So let's say April, May, June, July, August, September-ish. So just in these little 5 to 6 months. Within those 5 or 6 months was the last time the family had seen her, because we did see social media information that showed that she was back at home fussing with her neighbors during the time that her parents had reported her missing. We know that she attended a graduation of a family member during the time that her family had reported her missing. And we also know that not necessarily the parents, but other family members, I think it's like an aunt and a cousin or somebody, had reported or stated that she was with relatives down in Los Angeles. But the parents never did contact the police or contact anybody to let them know that they had an idea of where she was. This is too messy. This is too messy, and this is sad, but it is also so very, very messy. So very, very messy. How does David's brother fit into all of this? His parents as well. They appear to be very, very close. How do they all fit in with this? We have a lot of questions and we don't have enough answers. We have a lot of questions and we don't have enough answers. But what we do know and what we can find just a tad of comfort in is the fact that the police are still investigating. We're still awaiting the coroner's report on cause of death. The police are saying that they believe that it was a homicide. They're also reporting, according to some source that's close to TMZ and close to KABC 7 Eyewitness News in Los Angeles, that there shows that David took a quick trip out to Santa Barbara, which is about 2.5 hours away from Los Angeles. I don't know if it's 2.5 hours away from where he lives. Again, I'm not familiar with Los Angeles like that. So you could say it was, from when I did the Google directions, I wanted to see how far Santa Barbara was from Los Angeles. So from the end of Los Angeles to Santa Barbara, the beginning of Santa Barbara is 2.5 hours. So depending on where you're going in Santa Barbara County, wherever that is that they're going, what stretch of place that he went, how did they discover that? Did they get the information outside the Tesla? Now, I've heard a lot of folks who on social media who have been going over this case. They were talking about Teslas and how Teslas have cameras and that Tesla has very sensitive sensors because of the fact that it is an electric car, and it records pretty much every little instance of that car. I am wondering, are they going to be able to pick up? Because I don't know if it has all this kind of capabilities, but will it be able to show how the weight has changed in the car? You know what I mean? Because when you put something in a car, you add that weight, and then you look at the fact that with the decomposition or anything like that, the weights can change. I wonder if they have anything like that. I wonder, do they have any kind of way of looking in that Tesla to figure out when was the last time the door was open, when was the last time the trunk was closed, any of those types of things, to give them some kind of When was it moved? Because some people had said that it was in front of the home. Others said that it was like a little bit down the street, but in this just a little bit down the street, and they had called the police or whatever because apparently they can't have cars parked on the street for a certain amount of time. So that's going to be quite interesting to know if that information can be gathered in this investigation. Again, and I'll conclude this live in just a moment. But here are my final thoughts, and here are my final questions. Here's my question: I want to know if they're still talking to these parents. I want to know what information do they have of? Did they know where their child was? That's number one. I'm also curious about the school and the school system because again, we've had this teacher come on here and put all of this information out. This was my student and all this other stuff. What did that teacher know, and when did that teacher know it? Because that might be critical information that we need to figure out. Not only with her parents, but I am interested to know what other family member knew where Celeste was at what point in time. Because again, she was reported missing in 2023. I think it was 2023. Let's look that up and to be sure. Last seen 4/5/2024, excuse me. So she had been gone a year, but within this year, she had gone to a graduation of a cousin or a friend. She's had a picture showing a video showing her hugging a relative and stuff like that. So in other words, family members have known or have had contact with her, and no one made any effort to contact the police. Now, I am very much aware that the police have a hierarchy. Whether we want, it's a non-protocol hierarchy when it comes to the hue or the color of the victim. I'm well aware of that. However, I am still wanting to know when the parents knew, what they knew, and how they knew any of this stuff, because we can no longer make the, yes, I am very sad for them because they have lost a child. I am. However, clearly there had to have been something going on in this family to where this child of 13 would have run away. And that parents were not concerned about their 13-year-old child being out here in the wild. My next question is, how did Celeste and David meet? How did they meet? Did they meet online? Did they meet in person? How did they meet? Because with her age, like I said, I would expect for her to be online, in her phone, on social media. I expect that. Also, I don't know if she played video games or not. I would have expected for her to be in Roblox or whatever, these little video games and things like that. I'm interested to know, how did they meet? Because again, I'm asking these questions for those of us that are parents or aunties or whatever, because this case, y'all, how does a 13-year-old meet with the 18, 19-year-old? Where did they meet? David was not from the Los Angeles area or the Lake Elsinore area. How did they meet? And as parents, as aunties, as uncles, these are questions we need to be seriously thinking about. How in the world did these two people meet? Was there an emissary in between that it introduced them? How did they meet? What tech do they have? Text messages? Because again, social media has shown us that she would change phones and email accounts and social media accounts and things like that. She would change them quite frequently. Do we have her phone? Are the police aware of any of her social media accounts? Because y'all remember, David had a Discord and he had moderators, and then he was a mod. But you remember that, what was this? This is November. So towards the end of September, going into October, David was on there. And I remember a couple of TikTokers that were talking about this, that saying that there was chats being deleted. Is there some kind of text thread or DM thread between David and Celeste? Has the police talked to adult Celeste? What does she know? Did she know the other Celeste? These are all questions that I think that we need to have some kind of answer to. I was a little discouraged doing my last video because they were saying that they don't know if they'll be able to determine the cause of death. And wondering if the toxicology will put forth anything. So I'm hoping that whatever test and whatever extended test that they were needing to do in order for this case, that they go ahead and do it. Because if they're not able to determine a cause of death, then do they really have a suspect? Interesting. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, what are y'all thinking about the new updates that they're saying that according to KABC, 7 Eyewitness News in Los Angeles, and TMZ, that David is a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And also they reported that they know or have strong suspicion that David drove out to Santa Barbara, which is about 2.5 hours outside of Los Angeles, in the spring. From all accounts, it's sounding like that they believe that because again, the spring started this year, March 22nd, March 23rd, and then it ended in September. Let me make sure. I don't want to be telling a tale. Okay, so spring started on March 20th and ended on June 21st. And then we went into summer, and then we're now in the fall. So are they saying that between March and June is when they're looking at to when she possibly had passed away? And if so, where was her body? Because surely it could not have been in the trunk that long. Excuse me. Surely it couldn't have been in the trunk that long. And also, the owner of the home in which was rented out by David's management, and that David was in, was doing their own investigation. And I don't know if they were able to go through the cameras and all that other stuff that was out there at that house that time. They were supposed to be doing an investigation. Are they cooperating with the police, or is that social media hullabaloo? Interesting. All right, people. Once again, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.